Okay, welcome to the Rebuke. Let's start the first one at the start. So welcome here, and I'm very grateful to have you. Now these are totally unscripted, unedited, and that's one of the main things about them that's so good. So what I do each week is when I'm going out sharing Jesus or talking to different people or friends or people or things pop up in real life, I will talk to you about the interaction in some way, maybe give a rebuke to what the person said, because sometimes you're out and about and you don't want to ram Jesus down their throat, so to speak, but you'd like to be able to say some more. So this here is, maybe it's for them if they ever see it one time, or maybe it's for someone else that has a similar issue or a similar thing going on. So the first one is the most recent one for me. I've got a whole list of them, and I'm going to do a whole lot over time, but it's a very good friend of mine. And what happened was I sent him a video, and I just watched this video, and in my spirit it just popped up, sent it to him, and I wasn't like, oh hey, I want to jam Jesus down his throat, even though I do love giving Jesus and supporting Jesus, giving Jesus to anybody that will gratefully receive him. But I thought this might be a good thing that he could hear and understand a little bit more, because I had that feeling or that perception that he didn't actually understand what it was so much that I was doing. We haven't really had a good chat about it. A lot of people think, I don't know what they think. They think you're in the Catholic Church, or you're doing something else, or you're heavily involved in some sort of religion or cult or something like that. And there's a lot in my background that we can talk about in the past, because that is something that can happen, is people tend to judge you a little bit based on your background or a little bit of where you've come from, and put the pieces together to try to say, oh well, that's why they're like this, because they've done this or that, and they don't really understand, how Jesus came in and changed you, or changed your life from the inside out. And I heard a really interesting thing this week, where I heard somebody say that everyone says, oh, this is how I found Jesus here or whatever, but we were the ones that were lost. Jesus found us, and I can't remember where I read it, but thank you to whoever it was that posted it, because that was a really good one for me. I really enjoyed that. So let's get on with it. So I've sent him this video, and I just said, mate, I know you're in Bali, and I did a little play on words and put Baal. For those of you who know Baal is, he was one of the pagan gods and one of the chief gods, mostly associated with Satan. And I put the E at the end, like the I, because that's how it's spelled, B-A-L-I, and I put the I separate. And I thought, well, when he finds God later on and I speak those things that be not, that he'll look at that one day and have a little giggle to himself and said, have a look at this while you're getting a massage one day. Next time I'll have to do it with you. I'd love to be there. And it's all honest truth stuff. I would love to go there with him. He's a really, really good friend of mine. And said, have a bit of a look. And it was really funny, the video. I really enjoyed it and laughed, and I think that's why I wanted to send it to him, because he's that sort of guy that we've always had a laugh and had a good sort of time. So I sent him this video, and the response I got back was very much like, oh, you're trying to convert me, sort of thing. There was a bit of a jab about God, and I thought, well, hang on, he's opened God up to me. He's talked a question. I haven't talked about God. I was just sending this because they spoke about a lot of things. Maybe he knew that Russell Brand had recently become Christian in his faith. Even though he's very much on the Catholic side of things, he really does. In this interview, it's really clear that he loves Jesus, that he's found Jesus. He confesses him with his mouth in front of a lot of people. He's believing him in his heart. He's truly repentant of knowing that that none of us were good enough, and only what Jesus did was good enough. There was no perfect man other than Jesus that came. And this is part of if you're watching this for the first time, this is part of the whole redemption story. But when Jesus comes in, it becomes, you start to understand it better, because it's becoming from the inside out. You start to really get the understanding and the awareness of what he did for you, because as you and I both know, none of us are good enough. None of us, we've all done things wrong, and if you haven't done anything, I'd love to hear from you about how perfect that you are, that you've never made a mistake. Even the most perfect of perfect people have done something that doesn't meet the mark. But we've got this internal dialogue inside that tells us, this consciousness, this conscience, I should say, which is related to consciousness in a lot of ways, like expanding sort of conscience, that says to us, hey, there's something not right about what you did there or that, or you could have done this better, or whatever, and you just think, what is that? And that's the sort of stuff that led somebody like C.S. Lewis, the great author, to keep questioning his own beliefs and eventually come to Christianity and be one of the greatest and most prolific, writers in that thinking about that exact topic, about the understanding of changing over your thoughts to really believing in Jesus and correcting those things. So I've sent it to him, and I've got this message back. I'm not going to read the message because that would be a little bit rude, but the message that I got back was quite, at me. And what I'd say if this is the first, I think I'm going a bit softer on my mate here, but the first rebuke is, he talked about the Hindus, and well, one, they're all Muslims over there. There's some Buddhist temples and some different things. I don't even know if there's that many Hindus in Bali, but I could be mistaken, so I'm not going to hold that. But I just said, listen, the Hindus have too many gods with a little g, and they do. They have lots and lots of gods, but they do know that there is a heaven and there's an ultimate, and they believe in a hell, and they know all that stuff. But where they're stuck is they're stuck on a reincarnation loop. Whereas when you really start to understand what Jesus did, he says that, look, you're going to be brought back of sorts, but your actual soul, your spirit, it never dies. The soul and the spirit are going to keep going. So it's only this fleshly case that is going to pass away. A little bit like, have you ever seen in Australia we've got these cicadas or cicadas, some people call them, and they cling on the trees, and in summer you really hear them, they make this creaking sort of sound, and it's one of the key indicators that summer's near. But when they shed their skin and they shed their body, you'll find these little casings of them on the trees, and it's a little bit of a good analogy, like, for what's going to happen to us. Like, this shell or this casing is going to be gone one day, whether it's through death or whether it's through you've passed on into the realm of the light, whichever way that's going to look. Your spirit doesn't die. So the biggest gamble, and this is the part that I put to him, the biggest gamble, and I call my friends gamblers, because what they're gambling on is they're gambling that there is no hell and there is no anything after this. There's either nothing after this, or it's going to be a great place, or hell's going to be a great party. And I don't even know where they get that from, because if you're getting that from cartoons and TV and all that sort of stuff, that's where you're getting your theology from, or that's where you're getting your truths about life. I think you really want to have a really good look deep inside at what's going on, because that's pretty scary. Because today, people, life, television, media, they don't touch on those subjects in a really meaningful way, or in a way that is personal, because each person has a spiritual journey, and this is the thing. And this very much, when you find Christ, it really is a spiritual journey, and he speaks about this sort of stuff more than any other thing. But surprisingly enough, the thing that he spoke about, like nearly more than any other thing, was hell. So it actually is a real place. And to what degree, we don't know how bad it is, but from what we can gather and what great theologians and things seem to be saying, is that there's varying amounts of torment for varying amounts of things that you've done in this world. And a lot of people, they believe that they're just good enough here, but there's no one good. This is the thing. Even if you did, like, there's a guy called Ray Comfort that he's the Living Waters Ministry, if you look them up, that is fantastic, where he talks about through the 10 Commandments and goes through just a number of them to see if he does a sort of a good person sort of test, because none of us, we all miss it. We've all lied somewhere, we've all stolen or done something, or even if it was almost unintentional, you've still done it. Jesus said that if you look at a woman with lust in your heart, you've committed adultery already. If you look at a woman with lust, you've committed adultery already in your heart. So, he's raised those standards even higher. So, even looking or thinking is actually going to, put you in the wrong side. So, it's a big gamble that these friends have, and that people have, and most people have, and you may be having. There's to say that there's nothing after this. In other videos, I'll talk about some of my experiences. Like, I came from a more spiritual side of life, and that's what actually brought me back to what brought me to Christ, because I could hear the spiritual message within the message. But what it does even more is I got planted into a church and really liked that. That might not be your path, but that was my path, and I realised that it said not to forsake that assembling, and that was good for us. And after I started reading the Bible and doing different things, but one of the things that I found was that being planted in a church actually helped me a lot with my physical grounding and doing things in a physical way rather than just the spiritual. But the spiritual I could understand very easily, and the physical was some good principles. Now, not to say that every person that you meet in a church is going to be a good person. Listen, Jesus had 12 disciples, and one of them was a thief and a robber and a betrayer. So there's always going to be a percentage of people that maybe you don't click with or you don't like or whatever, but the thing is, you're called to love them all and you're called to care for them all. Now, getting off topic a little bit there, but coming right back round, hell is a real place, and how are you going to be sure that you're not going to go there? So what I say to you is that Jesus said that surely to see the kingdom of heaven you must be born again. So this is the one thing, and it's in John 3:3 and John 3:5 when he's talking to Nicodemus, who is he's like the teacher of teachers of all the rabbis of the time, and he said to him, that verily, verily I say unto you that unless a man is born again, he won't see the kingdom of heaven. And what born again is, it's born anew. It's being born, the first time of water, like through your mothering, through a birth, and the second time is through your spirit, and that's coming alive. And that's really just confessing Jesus with your mouth, believing it in your heart, and just being repentant of all of your of everything that you've done, but truly, because God knows the heart of a man. So it's not just a push button system or a tick system. It's a tick as in you really genuinely mean it, and you'll pass from death to life. So you could say a little prayer with me now. You can say, Jesus, repeat after me if you want. Come into my life, wash me clean, make me new. I know I'm a sinner. I know that I've done things wrong, and there's only been one perfect man that's ever lived on this planet that came and fixed up what the first man couldn't do, and the first man made the mistake, which was Adam, and the second Adam was you, and that you've brought me new life and new hope, and you've put yourself up as the ultimate sacrifice to take on all of the things and to pay for the debt of all the things that we have done and couldn't do. So if you do this and you believe it, and you say this and say, come in and wash me and make me new, thank you, Jesus, thank you, amen. If you've done that, just know that something's happened spiritually. You may not feel it straight away at first, but you'll know something's different as you go along. And I say, find yourself a Bible or get one online and start reading from John's Gospel maybe first, because it's good to read the New Testament and get through that and understand it, because the Old Testament can be a bit heavy going if you don't know anything about it. So do that, then maybe find a good church or find somewhere. And if you're not interested in that, just start reading through the New Testament, and you'll start to get a new understanding of what he's talking about and how he's going. There's plenty of resources and videos and things online now these days. So, you know, to my friend, we had a bit more banter backwards and forward, but what I did say to him was, I said, listen, you know, even these days, I said, I hate seeing any of my mates that are living in the, you know, in the proverbial poop, for lack of a better word, but I let them do it. Like, I hate to see them there, and the main reason I hate it is because I don't get to play with them or muck around or do anything with them, because when somebody's in the crap, that's all they can focus on, and that's all they've got is the crap that's literally going on in their life, and they're creating a lot of it. But when someone's out of that and free of it, they've got time to actually be with you, and you've got time to be with them, and it's fantastic, because I just want to see all my friends and everyone that I love just doing better and better and more and more. Actually, I want that for everyone. I want that for you if you're watching this today. So thanks very much for watching, you know, and helping me with this. And remember, the other thing that I did say to him that I'd say to you is, Jesus was a real man. Even the historians don't debate it anymore. He was real. He did live. And if he spoke about hell that many times, make sure you're right with him, because he wants to get right with you, and he'll come in and help you and assist you, and we can talk more about that in another video, in how that actually works and how that looks. If you did that, thank you so much, and bless you in Jesus' mighty name. And I'd love to talk to you the next time we're giving someone a rebuke. Thanks.